Hello, I'm Mrs. J, and welcome to my math class. So first we're going to do an inverse function when you have a cubic or cube root. So we have f of x equals the cubed root of x minus 3 plus 2. And we already know it's a one-to-one function because they told us it, so we can just take the inverse. Remember, there's 4 steps in taking the inverse. The first one is to change f of x to y. Second step, switch x and y. Third step, solve for y. To solve, we're going to subtract the 2 to the other side. Now to get rid of a cube root, you cube both sides because they're inverses of each other. So we have x minus 2 cubed equals y minus 3. And then just add the 3 to the other side. And the last step is to change this to f inverse. And there's your inverse. Let's try another one. Again, it's a one-to-one function. So first thing, switch your f of x to a y. Then switch your x and y. And then solve for y. Subtract the 5. Divide by the -1. And then to get rid of a cube root, just like over here, to get rid of a cube, you use the cube root. It's just the opposite of this one. So we take the cube root of both sides. Now you don't use a plus or minus when the root is odd. So it's only the positive. And then change it to f inverse. And that's all that's, oops, let me move it up a little, but that's all that's to it. Do one more. So if we have f of x equals x cubed minus 10. First thing, change your f of x to a y. Switch your x and y. Solve for y, add the 10. And then to get rid of the cube, take the cubed root. And now switch your y to f inverse. And that's it. Let's try another one. Inverse functions rational. I think we need more space for this one. Okay, so they want us to find H inverse and find the domain and range of H inverse. Okay, so first thing, we'll find the inverse. Change H of X to Y. And then change your X and Y. Okay, we can multiply this to the other side. And then distribute. Now notice we have two y's, so we need to get the y's on one side and get the 7x on the other. So I'm going to move this way. I'm going to move this one this way. Next, I'm going to factor a y out. And then we can just divide by it. There we go. And so then we change this to, since we're using H now, it'll be H inverse. There we go. So that's our inverse. Now to find the domain of this, remember we set the denominator equal to 0. So x cannot equal 7/6. So our domain, negative infinity to 7/6, and 7/6 to infinity. To find the range, remember the domain of this is the range of this. So if we find the domain of this, that will be the range here. So if we find this domain, domain 6x plus 7 equals 0, 6x equals a negative 7, x equals a negative 7/6. So x can be anything but negative 7/6. So this domain is the other one's range. Negative infinity to negative 7/6, negative 7/6 to infinity. Let's try another one. Okay, let's find the domain first so we don't have to come back. The domain, 4 plus x cannot equal 0. Subtract the 4. So x cannot equal negative 4. So the range on the inverse will be x not equal to negative 4. To To find the inverse, we change our g of x to a y. Then we switch our x and y's. And then we solve for y. To solve for y, I'm going to multiply the denominator to the other side. Distribute the x. I'm going to add the 2y over. Bring the 4x to the other side. You need to move them around because you want the y's on one side and everything else on the other. And then I'm going to factor a y out. Now we can get y by itself by dividing. And we're left with g. This one's g. The function was g, so this is g inverse. So that's our g inverse. The domain, looking at x plus 2. X cannot equal -2. So negative infinity to -2 and -2 to infinity. And our range is this domain. Since it cannot equal -4, it's -infinity to -4 and -4 to infinity. That's it.